So at this point, we are already 8 na. So we are already on midterm. So we're finished with our prelim. So pas-pas ra kay tanong. So we are now on our midterm, which is very important topics for you to start with your requirements. So that's writing a research proposal, and after is conducting and writing research reports. So some of you already have submitted your titles. Okay, so just update me from time to time if you're going to change it, because it's really normal to always change, no, if you have changeable mind. So who don't have a changeable mind anyway. So as long as it's for the better, so you can always change your write up, no. So we are now here. So if you can see my screen, so if you are on the So if you can click this writing a research and you will be directed into this slide shares. It's also about the research paper, how to write a research paper by Jamaica Olaza of the La Salle University. But I also have here another very nice something basic guide from from UP, authored by Mark Balendres, no, and we will, but first we will direct first to the writing the literature review, no, we finish after we finish this introduction for a while. So before so I'll just start, and later we can have sharing our questions and answer or anything. So let me just check our assigned dito. Ako. So let's me just check a screenshot of our attendance. Okay. In fairness, di din ako siya makita. Okay, so we are now here. Yan. So this is, can you see my screen naman, no? You can see my screen.
Yes, Ma'am Din.
Yes po.
Si Mary Rose, dili daw siya something wrong magud sa ko ang Di daw siya maka-in sa H4. The same link man yung gigamit, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Ma'am.
Okay, so last time we discussed about what is a research paper, no? So why do you need to learn how to write a research paper? So at this point, during undergraduate or college levels, you are being asked about writing a lot of essays, no, mga questions, and that is just synonymous to research papers. So by this time, is that true nga of course it is, no, since ako ganing mga subject, No, almost sad because of the pandemic, almost are more mga write up tanan na copy paste lang naman, no. So, but then the real research paper or write up or writing product should be not only a copy paste, no, kasi we here we go again. Kay if you're going just to copy paste it, although sometimes it's just safe na i-copy paste nimo kaysa i-restructure nimo ang sentence and then you are actually distracting or destroying the true meaning of what has been said, no. So you'll be charged with plagiarism if ever, if you are if you're not going to cite the correct author, or if you're not going to cite properly the authors of what you're writing. So in this presentation, then you will be um, most of you have already chosen your topic, diba? And then after the topic, what's next? Now, if you have the topic, so some of you have like andito ba si ano? Like wala pa. So like si John Paul ata yon, no, meron na siyang abstract. But when you do the abstract, actually is when you already finish the different parts, like the introductory statement or the review of literature, no. And most importantly, you should know what is plagiarism. So have you heard the word plagiarism before, Stephanie? Nakadungog nakaana, Steph, or here, Kenneth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what does it mean anyway?
Walang plagiarism, ma'am. Walang mag-copy ka og mga article sa lain, ma'am. Nya praise nimo sa imong murag kuan. So matawag siya na plagiarism.
Okay, so when you're just copy pasting, it doesn't mean plagiarism agad, no? As long as you're going to cite, no, the author or the reference of that copy pasted material or paragraph, there's no problem on that. But if you're not going to cite them properly, no, and you just own the words by yourself, like it's your own idea, so pwede siyang ma-plagiarize. And also, parenthetical notations, like what I actually, most common mistakes sa mga undergraduates or college levels is actually how to put the authors properly, and how to cite them, and the bibliography format, the how to write the references. So there are actually quite a number of ways to really write your paragraph. I mean your references. So we have taken this already. The meaning of research from the French word searcher, and it's more of intensive search and a systematic investigation. So now we should learn the structure. So as I have said, this has been presented already, that this compose the main parts of the composition. No, it must have an introduction, the body. So you introduce the body or the content itself, and the conclusion afterwards. These are the basic three most important na in every write-up. If you make a laboratory report or if you make a reaction paper, kailangan na aning tulo ka elements, these three elements. So you introduce, why do you do that, and what's the meaning of your writing or some of your topic, and then you present the body or the result. So what happened, and why it had happened, and for to conclude what is now your conclusion, or what is now the general findings or knowledge that we can take out of your research topic. So, but then into pieces, but part by part, this can be subdivided as abstract or introduction, thesis statement, literature review or review paper, methods, results, discussion, conclusion, references, and appendices. So let's discuss them one by one. So, yung abstract mainly introduce or briefly introduce the reader to the aims of the study. No? So, meron siyang objectives, meron siyang konting methods, brief lang. Bali, yung all of the methods are summarized into just 2 words or 3 words, and also the results and the findings. So, yun yung nilalaman ng abstract. Parang short reading lang siya of what happened, no? What happened or what's inside the paper. And in your introduction or thesis statement, this clear state a clear overall purpose for the study. So that should be the main purpose of the introduction. Why did you choose the topic? So what is the importance or the purpose of the study? So like for example, I remember like the cultural practice, the cultural control for eggplant, no? Border ba yun? So why they have to study that, no? So you should be able to explain that that the pest problem in eggplant is very common, or it's very important na pest, no? Which causes a lot of losses in eggplant. That is why you want to research on the the different methods or cultural practices to control it. No? So somewhat like that, or you can be very creative with your words. Then you define the research questions of the study. So like for example, how if the questions that is this particular cultural practice can control something like that, no? Or brief background of the relevant theory and practice to offer your topic. So this is when you already have a theory, no? Na sabi nila, like for example, this is more on this example is like when there is a relevant theory. They say that still the synthetic fertilizer or the NPK is still very efficient compared to organic if it is a theory, no? And so you give a background on that, or some theory like they say that there are more women than men, or there are more men than women, which is which. So well, it depends on the places, no? Depende yon sa places kung saan. There are also a lot of places na mas madami ang lalaki kaysa babae, no? So now let's go on with the literature review. So this is a summarize of what conclusion have been based on publication or any reading materials in the they call research literature, and whether different writers agree or not. So it's also important to know kasi some researchers like, or they do their experiment or research, whether social research or experimental, when it is not it doesn't, or it negate if it doesn't support the theory, then you'll become like disappointed, no? So you say, bakit ang cultural practice na ito hindi siya effective for control? Sabi ng mga authors, effective siya. So you will be disappointed, no? And then you dump, no? For you, it's not a good study, no? But you should know that every study is not actually palpak, no? It has its own purpose. So although it doesn't coincide with previous studies before, so you must know the reason why, no? For example, is it because of, for example, bumaha, or is it because nagkulang ka ng alaga or nakaligtaan mo? So you just must be able to explain the reason why or behind that, because that would be another point of comparison from other researchers as well. So if you're going to explain in your literature review, you should, this is actually the most um, tedious part in research, kasi you have to read a lot of materials and search for the correct references that would relate to your topic, no? And you have to read a lot at this point. It's not, there are already existing a lot of existing review paper if with regards to your topic. So although you just like a review paper on something like organic fertilizer, no? So marami ng review paper, and then you'll be tempted na just to copy what they have done, no? But you are just to make them as a guide kung paano nila ginawa, but it doesn't mean na kukopyahin mo na lahat, no? So you can also cite those examples or copy their references, but you have to be unique. You have, it has to be it has to be an original research or original review done by yourself, no? Or when it comes also to authorship, so we will also discuss on that, on how to do that if later there is an ethics, what do you call, ethics statement for that, who should be the authors and etc. Kasi nga like for example, no, between if there are two persons involved in one particular study, so lahat pwedeng depende yan sa sa agreement ng grupo of which sino talaga yung co-authors, main authors, and etc. So going back sa literature review, you also highlight here the main issue and controversies around the problem. So if your topic is ano nga yung sa'yo, Ivy? Yung health benefits ba yun ng cacao?
Ano din, therapeutic application of cacao beans.
Okay, so if that would be your topic, for example, so ano ang main issue niyan, no? So, and controversy, so ang cacao ba is too expensive, or may but we all know it has been proven a lot by through the years, kasi nga yung cacao ay, aside from being chocolate, it's also has been part of the culture of European, and since we were colonized by Spain for how many years? 300 years, 'di ba? Imagine, kahit yung mga apelyido natin ay Spanish na masyado. So and it has been already part of our culture also. So wala masyadong issue or controversies on that, no, in terms sa topic mo, no? But the main issue there is just like maybe if it's really a health benefit, or if it's too much, what will happen, no? Sabi nila, pag too much daw sa sikwate man, no, tsokolate, is maka-high blood daw siya. And is it really true? So pwede mo yang i-research masyado or alamin. So, okay, so and the purpose of the section, no? In methodology is to demonstrate that you are aware of the research methods you use to study this topic. So as I have said in the last meetings that we discussed the different research methods. So whether qualitative siya or quantitative, explorative, yung lahat yun ay mga descriptive, no? Or experimental, no? Explorative, descriptive, evaluation, and so on. So sa methods, you just identify how did you collect the data, no? Through interview and so on. Yun yung mga most applicable sa inyo. Or personal experiences, or secondary data. Pag sinabing secondary data, you just research them from the internet or from, like for the PSA, no, Philippine Statistics Authority, no, galing doon, or sa Department of Agriculture, for example, na galing doon. Okay, so sorry, ano na po ko ha. Okay. So again, in your methods, you're just going to highlight magkaiba, although ang ibibigay ko talaga na example sa inyo during the conduct of research ay experimental methods of data collection, kasi madali lang kasi pag social research or descriptive or yung qualitative, kasi you're just going to explain na explorative or descriptive research method siya or qualitative, no? So ganun lang. And how did you collect the data? How many persons you have interviewed? So madali lang. But in experimental, medyo may standard talaga siya, no? And we will discuss it further. In your result naman, you're going to present the findings of your research after. And it should be in orderly manner. Meron siyang heading, so may title. And if you're going to present your result with tables and figures, meron din siyang proper way of presentation, no? And so we will discuss that further. And sa discussion yun na, pwedeng sometimes in some journals, they embedded na the results and discussion. So after each presentation of the table or the result, meron siyang meron na siyang discussion. But in also some other format, meron siyang kaiba ang result and discussion. So to make it lengthy na or longer pages. So by the way, going back sa introduction ninyo, here's the introduction. Actually, it should, in an experimental or scientific research, it should just be for your abstract, usually 200 to 250 words lang yan. For your introduction, usually not more than 3 pages. But if your research is more on like narrative or descriptive, so you can have even up to 10 pages introduction. So in your discussion, going back, you are going to not just, again, repeat what has been said in the result. Like, for example, you said in your result that based on your experience, the right way of planting your tissue cultured banana plantlet is using this media, no? For example, in your result. But in your discussion, hindi mo na yan uulitin ng ganyan. So you just comment on the trends or findings and show your understanding of what your data suggests. No? For example, ano ibig sabihin nun? Kaiba ba siya? Is that the common practice or the standard practice? So you have to mention that as your discussion. And you highlight anything unexpected that came up. For example, your result was not actually did not actually coincide of the previous result reported by a researcher. So you should say this coincide or did not coincide with previous result or report and why. You should be able to explain that. For example, there is a somewhat different situation because your media is different or the weather condition was not favorable or kaya you have added somewhat unique na treatments. And then on your conclusion, it's actually a summary of your findings and highlighting the significance, the outcomes of your study. For example, ano na ngayon ang use ng iyong research paper and sino dapat ang makinabang nito. So, for example, therefore, the use of foliar fertilizer is efficient and this or effective based on your personal experience or based on the result of your research study. And this therefore it's very useful for the farmers to increase the growth of plants or for higher yield, for example. No? And you also discuss limitation of your study and indicate whether further research is needed sa inyong conclusion. But then you said that this is only for one cropping season or you haven't studied the economic value yet. So further study is needed in terms of economic analysis, for example, no? Or additional treatments, for example. And then your references is just an alphabetical order of the authors, so my specific format na siya. So one important lesson here is that and common mistake by writers or beginner writers is that ang dami nilang gimension doon sa review of literature ng mga authors, hindi mo naman nakikita sa likod ng references kung nasaan sila or vice versa, no? Hindi mo nakikita yung lahat yung yung lahat na nandun sa references mo sa likod, hindi mo rin nakita yung mga pangalan na sinite doon sa inside of your paper sa content. So, hindi pwedeng ganon. So, kung anong na-mention mo doon sa inside, pag na-cite mo siya, like according to Baan 2021, no? Na siya publication agad. Like that, no? The result of his study proved that organic fertilizer is efficient or even better than synthetic NPK fertilizer, for example. So kailangan na mention mo siya, kailangan meron kang reference sa likod. And what is inside the appendices is just like if you are using a survey questionnaires, no, nandoon lahat yung letters to participants and organization and yung ano yung mga nandoon sa questions, surveys, or instrument ang tinatawag natin, reports, policy, or historical documents. So, nasa appendix yan. So, experimental naman, usually ang meron doon ay mga pictures na very redundant kung i-mention mo or very ano siya, medyo gubot kayo kung i-present mo siya sa inside paper, no? But then if nasa likod lang siya, so maglisod mo kag basa, no, sa whole dili nimo ma-capture ang content if dahan kay picture, no, kasi maano ka, mainganyo ka sa photos. So usually nasa appendices lang ang mga photos or even some of the tables if you have figures to represent the data. And usually soil analysis, pag experimental, nandun yan sa likod. Or yung mga, yun nga, yung mga questionnaires, um, yung mga statistical analysis, yung analysis of variance, o kaya yung result ng ng sensory analysis, no? Usually, nasa appendices yan lahat. So, this is now how to write, no, the abstract. But then, the abstract is very important pa sa result, no? Not in the proposal. You are also be going to make a research proposal. So, but in since it's already here. So when we say abstract, it's just a summary of the body of information of everything, no? And the main claim on argument of a paper. So most of you, if you're going to find a literature that support your research, pwedeng abstract muna niyong basahin. So pag if you if you got if na kuha ninyo sa abstract yung gusto nyong topic, so pwede na i-include niyo sa list of literature. So the good abstract should answer the following: why did you do this study or project, yung objectives na, and what did you do and how, yung methods, and what did you find, so ano yung result, and what do your findings means, or so it's just if findings mean, is it effective or not, or is it useful, to whom and to where. So that's the abstract. So anyway, I have samples naman to give you later. And this introduction is very important in making your review paper and also your proposal. So again, it's an to introduce the frame, the paper of its for its readers, and should have the brief description of the topic, statement as to why the topic is worth researching, or just ask yourself, um why are you choosing that topic anyway, no? Or what makes it interesting, and the statement of the research objectives. So in the end part ng introduction, you will say, this study was therefore conducted or will be conducted to, so ano yung, to find out the best cultural control, for example, or if this organic fertilizer is efficient or effective for the growth of vegetables, for example, and the statement of the methods and the scope of the study. No, so if you are going to talk about like the um, therapeutic benefits of cacao, then so you're going to list down them in your introduction. So and an overview of the rest of the paper. So you also mentioned, especially for a review paper, you mentioned what will be inside of the content. No? So that's the introduction. So we are 5 minutes left. So anytime mag-stop siya, you just go back to the link to formally end the our meeting. No? So ano itong literature review? So this is there are 4 guide questions, no? And literature review is still inside your research proposal, and you can also make use of that to make your own review paper. So what is the present state of the knowledge regarding the topic under consideration? So if you're making your literature review, you should have set of subtitles, no? Yung iba kasi common mistake nila, wala ngang title, and then gihal gi so na gi-mix lang pala ng pagbutang ang mga na-research nila, no, into different paragraphs, and it's so chaotic na wala siya naka-organize into subtopics. So you should be able to organize them properly with particular topic. And then how are the studies related to the one being proposed? So of course, lahat ng idagdag ninyo sa literature review should always be related to the topic you chose or to your title. And the quality of the studies reviewed, no? So you can say, uh, you can be assured of the quality only if you properly see what methods they use, no? And you will, like for experimental, no, they say error df, you can still, maybe you forgot your statistics already, so pag ang error df niya ay 10, so that means very reliable na yung study, but lower than that, it's really not. Sometimes the CV or the coefficient of variance. So and we'll be talking much more of that during the conduct of research studies. Then how will the proposed study contribute to the existing literature? So in the end part, like they always say that the looking forward or um the future of your topic, no? So in the future, something like that, yung end part na. So how would you have found out that this is the status now? So how would you move on? No, so if you see that the farmer still needs, no, based on your literature review, the farmer still needs more support from the government. So then you will say something like therefore the government or the politicians, or what do you call that, yung nagbibigay ng mga law, or the lawmakers should prioritize the farmers, no, for example, like that. Okay, so in your methods naman, this should be related to the correct standards of research methods, and justify the research method and the approach you have taken in your study, and explain, justify the method of data collection and analysis. So we are less than in a minute. So iba, as I have told you, iba-iba yung methods, whether qualitative or quantitative siya. And for your conclusion, should be sum up of your findings and highlight the significance or the outcomes of your study, like an outline of implications and recommendations indicated by the findings. So that's the conclusion. So the conclusion will also have a little of your results, a little of your discussion, and after the conclusion is the references, or the list of alphabetically referenced materials that are cited in the text, no? So in referencing your paper, all references should be cited in the text, no? And vice versa. And there should be a recognizable system. So meron yang iba't ibang tawag, no, which will be discussed in the next meeting that we're going to have. And the appendices nga is yung mga letters, mga questionnaires, surveys, and relevant documents like the policy or the guidelines on how the Bureau of Soils are doing their soil analysis and so on. So this would be the next topic that we're going to discuss, no? Choosing a title. So these are just pointers. So we have actually discussed the main parts, no, which is